Good morning, everybody. It is September 3rd. Right now it's 8:06 a.m. The market's going to open in 24 minutes. So let's do some of our pre-market prep stuff. We've got the daily chart up here on the Nasdaq futures contract and Q September expiration daily chart right up there. Let's take a look what we got going on. Yesterday we drew out these three levels of support, marked these guys out on our chart, and price came right down to that first level of support yesterday, and we're just wicking away from it at the moment. If I'm taking a look at this guy right now, is this a valid level of support? I don't know. I think we are wicking away. There's some good news this morning for the Nasdaq, which is or for tech companies in general. Google, a court ruled that Google did not violate antitrust laws, and so that was positive for them. And so we're seeing Google pre-market pop, I think like 5-6% at the moment. But this happened before Google, so I think that we'll watch price action, see what it wants to do today, and we'll look at some market internals to see if this is an actual valid bounce or if it's just a dead cat bounce. A dead cat bounce means that we just move down, it does a little bounce, and then we push down again. We'll see what happens. Really, market internals, market breadth, cumulative delta, all that stuff's going to give us a really good idea if this is valid or if this is just a dead cat bounce and we're going to break through again. So let's keep moving down our time frames and see what we have. Well, one thing we can draw out here, sorry, before we jump on to the next, let's just do a simple downtrend line just for reference. And then I'm going to mark out the 20 SMA. I suspect that as price moves up here, these two are going to converge and form one level of resistance up around 23,600-ish. So I'll be looking that level. And as I draw these levels out, those show up on all my charts. So even if I'm down on a 1,000 volume chart intraday, this is gonna pop up right there. So I'm gonna keep that level in mind. Anything in here is probably gonna be choppiness. You might be able to find something, but I'd be careful of it. Download you. Okay, let's look at a 4-hour chart. Moving down, here's that level that we just drew out right there. Man, this thing just looks noisy, if anything. I'm not really seeing much on here, If I were to draw something out, it'd be something more of like a support. Get off the chart, dude. If I were to draw something out, it would be something more like, the support level here and breaking that and then moving back down. But that's really kind of stretching it. I don't know. Maybe if we had maybe this 4-hour top and then you've got something up here at 23. I mean, it just looks messy in here. Looks like a lot of noise. I'm not seeing much on that. I'm going to move down to the hourly and see what we got. Here's our hourly chart with a weekly volume profile on it. We're going to try to zoom in to just this week, which is going to be right here. Yeah, I mean, you can see here we've got kind of this bull flag thing going on where we're in this uptrend. We've got this big move up, consolidation. We're breaking this high, moving up. Now another little pullback. We break this trend line. Maybe we're going to move up to 23,480, 490-ish, which is like, 40 points away, 50, no, more than that. Where are we trading at right now? 60 points away, something like that. So that's a pretty good pickup. How do you get in on that? Again, it looks noisy and choppy, but the break of 62, taking it up to 84. I hate to say it, but that looks like the only real promising thing at the moment. We've got this trend line, kind of broke through it, but I suspect this is going to break and we're going to push up into 480-ish level right there. We guess I got 20 minutes for the market open. To the downside, dang, this just looks nasty. That's kind of your big support level right there at 23,290-ish. Break of that, you're probably looking at 23,200. pretty noisy. So, you got this pocket in here that if price wants to break that support, we get through the 20 SMA, you can probably pick that up. So we've got something up here and then something down here. Anything in between is probably going to be junk. Yeah, you got this level of resistance up here. Price may want to get sucked up into that. That's that same level here. The volume profile, there's a low volume node here. I don't know if you can see it. There's also an LVN right there. Uh, yeah, I think this is a nice little pocket to pick up. Maybe get a 10-point scalp, 10, 15-point scalp out of it. And then it's probably going to reach exhaustion up here. Now, that's not to say that we don't just bust through and make a move to the upside. Again, we're going to have to watch order flow to see what's going on. But I'll be watching that level. I'm going to mark out right up here at 85, I guess. God, that's so little, but you probably get 15 points out of it, and that might be enough. Let's look at a 5-minute chart. Moving down, so we went from daily to 4-hour to hourly. Now we're gonna look at that 5-minute. Then we can see that little pop right there. I would also wouldn't be surprised if this was like a bull trap where we pop up, wick through, and then bust back down and come back down to here. Yeah, so you're gonna be careful with all this stuff. Looks like not a great day. Not a. I shouldn't say it's not a great day to trade. You never know what's gonna happen. I mean, just because you're not seeing it right now doesn't mean something's not gonna shape up in the first 30 minutes or so. That could totally happen. But yeah, that's the only thing I'm looking at right now is right here. Then of course, if you look over here on the 4-hour, of course, if we really start moving up and we start clearing these levels, we're probably looking at that 23,600 level. And so that, that's 100 points right there. Yeah, to the upside. Now let's look at market internals. Cumulative delta. We are positive cumulative delta, but not very much, not as aggressive as I'd like to see pre-market. I'm going to move this dash line up here, just getting it ready to put it on the market open, wherever cumulative delta is on the market open. Market's going to open in 15 minutes or so it's probably going to be somewhere around here. We want to see price hold above, or sorry, cumulative delta. We want to see cumulative delta hold above the open cumulative delta reading, and really start to make a move up. Cumulative delta, what I said in the video yesterday is you can do technical analysis on it as well. We're kind of breaking to the upside here on delta. If we start to, if we see price moving up through some of these levels that we marked out over here, it's moving up, let's say on the hourly, but we're watching delta and delta starts to move below zero. That's delta divergence, and I would just sit on my hands up here, and I would be looking to take shorts up here once price got there, if price got there, or I'd be looking for price action, price structure to begin breaking to the downside, and taking a short and kind of calling out the bull trap here. So that's one thing I'd be looking at. But yeah, we're gonna watch delta now. If delta is holding and we break these highs on delta and we just start trending up above 1,000 and price is moving up, man, I'm looking at longs. I'm looking at taking a long there, because delta's confirming that move. Yep, so we're gonna have to just keep a look at that. We are above, we are positive in the morning, up 0.75%. We're above VWAP, and delta is positive, so those are bullish signs on the morning. We are coming off a support level, which we had drawn out on the 4-hour over here. So we'll see what happens. That's a lot of stuff going on, but we do have a couple trade setups to keep in mind. Looking to go to the long side here, unless we start breaking down and start cutting through some of these support levels, then we're going to be watching delta to see if it's moving along with it, and we'll be looking to take shorts then. But gotta let the market open, let it move around a little bit, see if we can't find an opportunity. So yeah, I'll check back in with you guys here, and hopefully we can find some good setups. All right. Hey everybody, it's now 11:16 a.m. I am done trading for the day. Had a red day, down 222 bucks, so it happens, not the end of the world. I like to say that, oh, I knew exactly what was going to happen and I just didn't execute properly, but the honest truth is sometimes these days just happen, and One thing I needed to do is I got into a short and I didn't take my stop soon enough. I let the loser run too long before I eventually closed the trade, and resulted in just a larger loss than I wanted. But this is still within, my risk parameters or whatever. So it's not the end of the world. Let's take a look at what we had going on today. I'm going to pull up this hour chart. In pre-market, we were looking at a few levels. If you can see through kind of all these lines, really what we were looking at was the break of this high right here, this pre-market high at 23,460-ish right there. And then we were talking about taking this pocket right here. Price did make that move. It was, a decent move. I took a scalp in here long, but I did not hold it very long, of course. But I'll actually show you the trade that I did get in, which was a big loser. What was I going to look at here? Oh yeah, I want to look at the levels. So we broke 462 and then came up to 479. It's 20, 30 points. I think we said maybe you could get it up to 489. So, it's 30 points. I think I took one little scalp in here to kind of put a dent in my red day, but this wasn't the main trade that I took. The trade that I ended up taking, oh, sorry, before we move on, this was the big support level down here that we were looking at if price wanted to move lower, coming down into this area. And if we broke that, I think we were looking at a larger drop, but obviously we did not do that. Most of the Mag 7 are up today. Actually, all the Mag 7 are up today, with Google leading the charge, up 9% at the moment. So that's got a lot to do with the bullish action on the Nasdaq. What was I can look at? Oh yeah, let's look at a 1,000 volume. It's gonna give me the best idea. I'll show you the trade that I took this morning. The fucking dumper. Of course, I'm gonna scroll this over here. Try to zoom in a little bit. Man, I need to get my Ninja Trader scrolling skills down. All right, let's look here at price action on the open. This right here, where's this candle? This candle right here is where Delta opened right there. If you can see that candle right there. So Delta opened there. I don't know why I don't have my lines on here down here. Somehow those got deleted. So Delta opened right there. And then we've got the 0 line on Delta here. And I can just come in here, double click, and then go to 0. And then on this one, I'm going to make it a dash line. Okay. So Delta opened right here at positive 450, 450-ish, 440-ish, something like that. So we were positive. We opened above 0, obviously. And what happened on the market open is price just began to dump a little bit. Not a little bit. It dumped, right? And as price was dumping, Delta was holding until we really started, until we really started to move lower here. And then we saw Delta really breaking lower. And I was watching this right here, this Delta coupled with the price action, and I thought we were going to move lower. We put in this low here, and then what I saw was kind of this break right here to the downside. Took a short. We were still below Delta open, and we're holding Delta open. I took a short, I think, right here, of course. And I saw a break below 0. I took a short right in here, and we just reversed right back out of it, right up. I think I held it. It came back down. I may have even added to it here. I can't quite remember. Came down. I thought we were going to make that move because I saw Delta holding below the open, but we were still right around the 0 line. I would say it was like a B setup, and we just clearly didn't break. Came down a little bit more. Actually, that wasn't the trade I took. My bad, guys. This was the trade I took right here. This was it. Over here. Right here on this mother effer. Yep, that was it. I was watching all this consolidation, and then I remember seeing Delta dropping below, Delta putting in a new low, price putting in a new low, and I thought we were going to go. Shorted it literally right here. Literally shorted the low. and then we reversed out, and I got stopped out right here. I remember that now. So I had a take profit down. I can't remember. It was down at that support level that we had drawn out before, and we just didn't make the move, and I got stopped out as we broke this high. Obviously, price actually did end up coming back close to my entry price, which was frustrating. But we moved up and just had to take my stop. Obviously kept ripping higher in the day. I may have been saved. Oops, sorry. I may have been saved, here. I can't remember. This actually probably came down to my actual entry price. But, we can look at Delta here. I don't think that was necessarily a bad trade. We break lows. We barely broke lows. I thought this thing was going to go, but we broke that support structure. Delta was going along with it. Just got wicked out. Or not wicked out. We just got, I guess it was wicked out on some chart. I don't know. So anyways, that's just the way it goes. Took that stop. Let's look at what price did the rest of the day. Obviously, just started, climbing up. We had this big drop here, but I would not have taken a short on here. I ended up taking a long, I think, right here. I took a long right here as we broke that's resistance level that we had. This should have gone, and it just didn't. Delta's holding. So I took a long here, and I got out, I think it's 74, 73, something like that. So I put a dent in my big red day, my big negative, but not enough, obviously. Yeah, I mean, it's fine. It's $222. It's not that big of a deal. But yeah, so we can just see here how Delta's been holding very bullish, very bullish. This move up, one thing I would note is as price was moving up here, particularly in this move, as we broke higher here, look at Delta starts moving down. Price is moving up, Delta's moving down. That's Delta divergence. If I was a better trader, I would have taken a short on that, but I just didn't have the mental capacity to take another one, so I just didn't do it. And we can see here on the Delta divergence where we've got price moving up, putting in a new high. We actually have Delta putting in a new low at actually past an area of resistance. And if you were a good trader, you'd be able to take advantage of that back to the downside. And looking at that in hindsight, it's clearly a good trade to take. We've got going on now. I don't know, I'm not going to trade anything right now. So yeah, I mean, just taking a look back on the day, you can learn a lot from your losers, and I think I needed to just be a little bit more patient. Although I will say this was at 847. I felt like I had been patient enough, to be honest with you. I really saw this breaking down lower, and we just didn't get the move. So that's fine. We still got the account. Could have been worse. Red on the day, but still green on the week, so that's all right. It's only Wednesday. Yeah, we'll keep trading, keep recording, keep reviewing, keep learning. Ooh, look at this little price action here. What's gonna happen here? Bearish candle in the 5-minute. We're gonna pull back down to 406-ish, maybe. All right, guys. I hope you guys are having a good trading day. If you liked any of this, I don't know, thumbs up, like the video, subscribe. Do whatever you want. It doesn't really matter. This channel is not even monetized anymore, so this is all just for shits and giggles. If you guys are enjoying it, like it. Yeah, I'll check you guys back here tomorrow. See ya.